welcome to the Shelly Studio. I'm calling this one my failure fix. So, I don't know if any of you watched the previous video I uploaded, but this was my original attempt to do this technique of edges for watercolor. So right now I'm just drawing some little houses using a ruler because the idea of this technique is to get really crisp lines. So I'm drawing all my lines in. I do edit this a little bit, so it might jump here in a minute, hopefully. But I'm going to go through and draw out these houses, and then I'm going to crease the lines with a butter knife. I'm using the back side, the unserrated edge. Now the original technique I saw, they had a special tool that just put a crease in it. But it looked similar to the thickness of my butter knife, so that is what I'm going to use. So once I get all the lines drawn for my house, I'm going to do that. So there's where I cropped out a bit of the drawing time. And here you can see I'm using the back of that knife and just pushing. I don't think I pushed quite hard enough. Another reason this is a little bit of a failure is because when you crease the lines where the pencil's marks are, they don't erase so much. So I erase it to death, but you can still see them. After erasing a few and still drawing some more lines with the knife, I attempted to put the crease just off from the pencil marks, and that worked a little bit better. So the idea is to apply the water, and it's supposed to stop at those creases, but it doesn't really. And I fiddle with this way too much and kind of overwork my sky just because I'm trying to get those edges to be as crisp as possible, because that's what I was trying to go for. I get this partially done and then I just stop and move on to the other more simpler project, and I still consider it a fail for the edges, but I like the finished piece of the other one. And I do come back to this one after, and I'll do just this one in its entirety on this video, and I turn it into a mixed media piece using markers and pens just to make it more interesting. So anyway, there's my crazy sky. Now I'm painting in the doors. The lines do look fairly sharp in some instances, but not in all. And I think that might just be because I'm using a flat brush rather than the fact of those edges being creased. Like the negative painting for my picket fence, I think it worked pretty well. Looks like pickets. So now I'm going in and painting the roofs and my little houses. I don't think I have as much control at doing straight lines with my round brush as I do with my flat brush, but it's easier to get into some spaces with the round brush. So you just have to go with what works best. I'm trying to think of where I gave up. I think I gave up before I started coloring in the actual buildings and moved on to the other project. And then I came back afterwards and painted in the houses. Because I just felt like it was looking kind of like kindergarten finger painting. You know, just not quite what I was hoping for. But like I said, I think it improves once I take some pen and ink to it. I like it much better. Give a little shading to our picket. So here's where I decide I'm going to draw on it. I'm just using a small Sharpie, not the fine point, but the small one. I'm just outlining everything. And then here I take the fine point Sharpie. We're going to put shingles on the roofs. It's looking better already. Now I think this is my football pen. I'm doing side shingles on the other two roofs. Can't have them all be the same. Plus that one has a window, so you know, wouldn't be shingle in the front. Alright, I take the pen to my picket fence and I decide these are brick houses, so we're just going to give a little accent of brickwork on the houses. And I just pick random areas. I missed a line. That blue house, if it didn't have a door, it would remind me of Rapunzel's tower. Just putting a little accent around the windows, making them look framed. And then I decide the sky needs help, so we're gonna Zentangle my sky. Had to make sure it worked. Ever used to do these kind of doodles as a kid? I'd go around a word on a notebook and then just keep going. It's kind of the concept here. Actually, creating the sky was kind of fun. And now I'm putting my little Zentangle type doodles in here. I'm not going to go on every row, but just adding a little bit of accents everywhere. You know, looking at these swirls in the sky kind of reminds me of the painting Starry, Starry Night. Wouldn't that be fun to do a Starry, Starry Night and do Zentangle doodling in the sky? That could be fun. Tedious, but fun. And like I said, I'm just doing them randomly, just trying to not have them right next to each other. I noticed that I was doing them every other one, so I decided to finish it up that way. Yeah, we gotta add one more thing. We'll put circles. I did notice after doing this, it was like every other one was something. There was a few spots that had just 2 lines, and I decided I would just use a darker, my little bit thicker Sharpie, and just draw those lines to emphasize them. Why not? Well, that's about it for this one. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did like it, please hit like. That helps me out. And if you'd like to see more, please subscribe.